One of the reasons why people buy a Chinese compact crossover is its overall value proposition. You see, you get a lot of kit, features, and performance for a lot less. Now, GAC Motor sticks to that tried and tested formula with their base spec GAC Emkoo GE that we have here. Now, why do I say that? Well, despite being just the base model, this, my friends, punches way above its weight. Now, if you want to know why, well, stick around because I'm going to tell you all about it. Let's do this. With the influx of so many new car offerings from both mainstream and challenger brands, a new car model needs to truly stand out in order to be noticed. This new car must strike the perfect mix of looks, value, and features to make it on the shortlist of any prospective buyer. The base spec GAC Emkoo GE here does its best to hit that sweet spot since we do get a handsome compact crossover for the price of a subcompact. At only 1,298,000 Philippine pesos, the Emkoo GE undercuts most of the value compact crossover offerings, but of course, there were some compromises that were made to meet this price level. So, we now ask the question, did GAC Motor Philippines strike the perfect blend in the base spec Emkoo GE? Let's find out. Here at Reagan's Rides, we do car reviews of SUVs, sports cars, trucks, and everything in between. So subscribe and hit the bell. I'd like to think that what I look for in a car is something that a lot of you guys will also agree with. Oh, of course, I look at the looks and the value for money, the right amount of tech and features, and the car has to work with me when it comes to the overall drive. You see, there are some vehicles out there that they fight me when I take it out for a drive, while there are some that really work with me. Now, when I say that a vehicle works with me, that means that this car, well, yeah, it has just the right amount of power paired with a fantastic steering feel and an overall comfortable ride. Now, if you agree with me, let me know in the comments below. Now, the GAC Emkoo GE that we have here delivers in most of those key areas. You see, power is adequate, courtesy of a 1.5-liter Turbo 4 that pumps out 177 horsepower and 270 Newton meters of torque. We also get a 7-speed wet-type dual-clutch transmission here that delivers the power to the front wheels. Now, it's quite a performer, but the transmission of the Emkoo is tuned more for comfort rather than raw performance. You see, we have a smooth and refined power delivery here. It doesn't feel manic, it doesn't feel dangerously quick. Now, we also have 3 drive modes. We have Eco, Normal, and Sport. And I like that you can even customize the steering feel and the feedback and the weight per drive mode of the Emkoo GE. However, I was surprised to see that we don't get paddle shifters here, and we don't even have a manual mode. Now, that means that we don't have a low gear option, which is something that's really weird, especially for modern new cars nowadays. I mean, it seems that did GAC completely forget to give us low gear? I mean, did they forget to put in a manual mode or even a low gear option? I mean, it's not a big deal, pare, if you're just driving around the city or mostly on flat highways. But when you go on a mountain road, yeah, that lack of a low gear option may be problematic. I mean, sure, we have hill hold assist here and we have hill descent control as safety features, but personally, I still prefer to have the option to control my own gears when you're going up or down a mountain road, especially a slippery mountain road at that. Now, that's the only driving concern that I have with this GAC Emkoo GE. Now, some people may find the overall design of the Emkoo GE here to be a tad bit too futuristic, but, well, if you ask me, I find it attractive. In fact, I love it, pare. I like the overall design aesthetic here. You see, the Emkoo GE is one of the sharpest looking compact crossovers that you can see today in the very literal sense of the word. Now, why do I say that? Well, GAC Motors says that the design of this front grille is a diamond cut front grille. So that makes it really sharp. And this diamond cut front grille goes pretty well with the eyes of revelation LED headlight units here. I mean, pare, I'm not kidding. Yeah, the brochure says that these are the eyes of revelation. It's really cool. A little bit funny, but it's cool. Anyway, these are really gorgeous looking eyes of revelation LED headlight units, and when you put it together with this really sharp diamond cut front grille there, well, we have a really handsome compact crossover here. In fact, this futuristic look kind of reminds me of what an EV or an electric vehicle will look like. So yeah, if you have the balls for it, dude, you can even take out your GAC Emkoo GE on your number coding day, and you might be able to fool some traffic enforcers because they might think that this is an EV. But then, yeah, you may not be able to fool them as well. So, if I were you, don't take my advice. Don't use this on your number coding day. It's still a gasoline-powered compact crossover. So, yeah, mga dudes, let's not break the law, okay? The side profile of the Emkoo GE gets a couple of features here that makes it look more like an electric vehicle. First up, the wheels. If you look at the wheels, we have 18-inch alloys here that are designed in a way that they kind of look like they belong in an electric vehicle. Next up, we also have the door handles. See, the door handles are recessed into the doors when the car is locked, but when you unlock it, yep, it pops out, which is a really cool feature. Now, the body panels of the Emkoo also has all of these sharp geometric lines here, which supports that entire sharp design aesthetic that we have here. However, we have to understand that the Emkoo GE is still the base model, so we still have to take some cuts when it comes to the side profile. Now, where was the cut made? Well, if you check out the side mirrors, well, we only have regular side mirrors here with LED turn signals. This, my friends, does not have a power folding function. Now, thankfully though, the mechanical bits are still on the premium side, and that's because we still have disc brakes on all four corners, and for the suspension, we have MacPhersons up front and multi-links at the back. Now, the ground clearance stands at 190 millimeters, which is pretty good for a sleek-looking compact crossover. Pop out? All right, let's go in. One of the things I like about buying an Emkoo GE here in the Philippines is that you have the option of choosing the color combination of your cabin interior. You can get it in regular black and gray with red accents. You can get it in beige and brown, or you can get it with green accents if that's your thing. However, even if you just get it in the regular black, gray, and silver cabin colors here with some contrast red stitching, this, my friends, is still a pretty trippy cabin. I mean, it is such a gorgeous place considering that this is just a base model and we do get some pretty fancy design pieces here. Like, take for example the door handles. I mean, the door handles are circular and yeah, they're kind of unique when it comes to the design. Plus, we also have this large and circular knob at the side of your center AC vents, which also adjusts the AC temperature of the Emkoo GE. Now, that's pretty cool. However, we have to consider that this, my friends, is still the base model, so there are a few cuts taken here inside the cabin. The first cut would be the seats. You see, the seats are lined with leather on the sides, but the center part of the seats is still made of fabric. Now, that's not a big deal for me because these are pretty comfortable seats and we still have power adjustments for the driver, and both front seats still get a ventilation function. Oh yeah, for a base model, yeah, getting ventilated seats, pare, that's a flex. That is a flex. Now anyway, the second cut I've seen here is, well, if you look up, you don't get a panoramic sunroof. Now some people might find that to be a bit of a deal breaker, but considering the price and considering that we live in tropical Philippines, I don't really mind not having a sunroof at all because it helps to keep the cabin a little bit cooler. Now aside from that, well, everything else is pretty much, yeah, a standard designed Emkoo cabin here, which means that we get a really gorgeous leather wrap steering wheel here that is just in that perfect size and shape, and I love the girth of the steering wheel, just perfect for my hands. And we also have a tilt and a telescoping function. Now we also have a 7-inch fully digital instrument gauge cluster there that has a really cool graphic on your tachometer. I really love that. And we also have a 10.1-inch touchscreen infotainment system here with Apple CarPlay only, because we have Carbit Link, which I don't know, I think that's smartphone mirroring. But if you're an Android user, well, tough luck, we don't get Android Auto here, so you'll just have to rely on Bluetooth connectivity. Now, another cut that was made in this base model is the fact that we only get a reverse camera. You see, we don't have a 360-degree view camera image here, which I find to be a huge bummer, especially since the belt line of the GAC Emkoo is a bit on the high side. I mean, that's because of the overall design aesthetic. I mean, look at it. Look at me, pare. I'm seated on the driver's seat. This is my driving position. And the belt line is at my neck. It is that tall. Now, that high belt line will compromise your visibility a little bit. So if we had a 360-degree view camera image, that will help you when you're negotiating or driving the Emkoo around, let's say, tight spaces. But given the fact that we only have a reverse camera, well, you will just have to rely on your good old-fashioned mirrors and, of course, careful driving. Aside from that, what else? Yeah, we have a receptacle here for your cell phone, which looks like it's a wireless charge pad, but because it's a base model, well, it's not a wireless charge pad. And we also have a good-looking diamond shifter here, which complements the entire really gorgeous design aesthetic of the cabin of this Emkoo GE. Now, even if the Emkoo GE looks like an EV or a hybrid, the fuel consumption here is that of a regular compact crossover. You see, we get around 8 kilometers per liter when you're driving around the city, and I was able to reach as much as 15.3 kilometers per liter on the highway. Now, that's pretty close to the published highway figures from GAC Motor Philippines, which they put at 16.1 kilometers per liter. Where the base spec Emkoo GE excels though would be the safety features. Now, as you're seeing on your screen, even this base model gets advanced driver assist systems, something that the other value compact crossovers at the same price will not give you. You see, the ADAS system here is also nicely tuned. It's not too intrusive, and it allows you to drive your way without being too nervous. Now, I'm really grateful that we have ADAS here because, as I said, the belt line of the Emkoo is on the high side, and that ADAS gives you an additional layer of safety, especially when you're driving around our chaotic roads here in the Philippines. Now, as for the back seat, let's go and check it out. Alright, so the GAC Emkoo has a couple of things going on for it, especially if you are the rear passenger. First, well, we get a ton of space here, especially for a compact crossover. I mean, this, my friends, is really nice and spacious, which makes it really, really comfortable. Now, the second thing that's going on for the rear passengers is the fact that we do have that high belt line there, and we don't have a panoramic sunroof, so that means that the NVH, the noise here at the back, well, pare, it's almost non-existent. I mean, this is so refined, it's so quiet here that it really amps up on the comfort factor of the GAC Emkoo, especially for your rear passengers. However, I am missing a center armrest here, at least for this base model, but at least we still have a pair of rear AC vents there, and we also have a solo USB charge port. The rear end of the Emkoo GE is one of the best features of this value compact crossover. You see, we get these quantum lightsaber LED taillight units here that are arguably the best looking LED taillight units that I've ever seen in any of the value compact crossovers I've reviewed. In fact, friends, they kind of remind me of the lightsaber of Darth Maul. You know, the double-bladed lightsaber. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now anyway, these quantum lightsaber taillight units go really well with the futuristic looking rear spoiler that we have here, which again complements that futuristic looking rear bumper right there. Now this entire rear end really looks darn good, although if I would nitpick, well, I would remove these jet fighter looking exhaust tips here on the sides of the rear bumper, because they're just design pieces. They're not really the real exhaust pipes. But, well, they still go with the entire design aesthetic of this rear bumper. So, yeah, I guess it's still okay. Anyway, this base spec Emkoo GE only has a manual liftgate here. And once you pop it open, you will see that you get 635 liters of cargo space here. Now, that's pretty big, and that's large enough to accommodate my large sky travel luggage here, as you can see. And we can put a second one right there without any issues. Now, if you need more space than that, you can always split fold the back seats there for a lot more space. And if you're looking for your spare tire, well, you can find it underneath the floorboard. Yep, we do have a donut spare tire there in case of emergencies. In the end, the GAC Emkoo GE may not have all the bells and whistles, but it still delivers the bells and whistles that matter the most to me. Well, except for one. That would be the manual mode or low gear function, which GAC really shouldn't have skipped on in the Emkoo. But if you don't see any need for the low gear function, then the GAC Emkoo GE will deliver. It has the power, space, features, and price that will help it stand out in the sea of options available to us. Add that to the futuristic design language of the GAC Emkoo, and you get a highly compelling option in the value compact crossover segment. Thanks for watching.